So it is April the 8th, 2020 as I am recording this video, which means that right now as you're watching this, we're in the middle of WrestleMania 37. I'm sure the show is really good, really great with all the fan reactions. I'm not there to watch it, but maybe I'm watching it in Miami, I'm not too sure. But what I did when I go over is that since we're upon WrestleMania weekend, that means we are now done with quarter one of 2021. From January 2021 to March 2021 usually is the I want to say more so the most hype period for professional wrestling, especially January, because that's the time where we set a lot of the stones for feuds and matches coming forward later in the year. And pandemic aside, we got a lot of really good wrestling in just the first 3 months of 2021, from WWE to AEW to New Japan to Stardom to Pro Wrestling Noah to DDT to Dragon Gate. There's so much to talk about, there's so much to go into when it comes to these Q1 awards. But I decided I wanted to narrow it down so that way the video can be shorter and so that way we can have more of a definitive conversation other than just throwing like 25, 80 different names of matches out there. We're going to narrow it down. So we're going to be doing 5 categories for the Q1 awards. And those 5 categories are all going to be counting down from 1. Top 5 matches of Q1, the top 4 eye-catching moments of Q1, the top 3 shows of Q1, the top 2 promotions of Q1, and then the top wrestler of quarter 1. Quick disclaimer, I am not the almighty final decision on what is the greatest or greatest match of all time. I am merely just another wrestling fan projecting their thoughts and opinions on what they watch. I know sometimes you guys can get very passionate about this kind of stuff, so I just want to throw that in there. Agree or disagree with my opinion, feel free to comment down below and get a conversation started about why it should or should not be that way. That being said, let's get straight into the Q1 awards. And let's start off with the top 5 matches from January 2021 to March 2021. I know this might throw a lot of you off right off the bat as to why it's not ranked a bit higher on the list, but make no mistake, this match is still one of the more outstanding matches I've seen from New Japan all year, if not maybe still number 1. Shingo Takagi and Hiroshi Tanahashi, they're 2 guys that were in New Japan at the same time for the last 3 years, but I never really thought about the idea of these 2 facing off because of just how different of a direction these 2 were headed in. I mean, at the time, Tanahashi was going into Wrestle Kingdom to face Kenny Omega, and Shingo was a junior, and then in 2019, Tanahashi was kind of floating around in the main event scene, kind of, you know, doing this thing and that thing with Jay White, and then Shingo's trying to find his groove in the junior division, and then slowly making his way into the heavyweight division, and then with 2020, they were still kind of heading in different directions. Like Tanahashi was in the tag division, then Shingo was really trying to find his footing in the heavyweight landscape of LIJ with E1 now being gone. So it's like the roads never really crossed paths at all in the period of time they've been in New Japan, but yet they were on the same roster and they could have had matches, but they never did up until this point where we had Shingo Takagi defending the Never Openweight Championship against Hiroshi Tanahashi, and it was just an amazing match. And I think the only nitpick I had was that it went a bit longer than I feel like it should have really. I think it went like 35 minutes or so, which is just one of my nitpicks in New Japan as a whole. We don't really need 30 minutes every single match. But Shingo Takagi and Tanahashi are 2 men with 2 completely different styles. Tanahashi having that very old school, almost King's Road-esque type style where it's very slow build all the way up into the New Japan Epic, where Shingo is a never guy, very hard hitting, comes straight at you, and we don't really see Tanahashi wrestle that style. And now in the very beginning of the match, it was a very slow build, it was Tanahashi's style, but then as we progressed on, it went into a never openweight Shingo type match, where Tanahashi was even dealing in some of the lariats and some of the elbows that we come to see from guys like Evil and Goto and Ishii, and it was just very impressive to see that. And I felt like even in the end, where it was such a great mix, you didn't know who was going to win, I still felt like it was just this great grasp of what wrestling is meant to be. And Tanahashi actually came out the winner in that match. He currently is still holding the Never Openweight Championship, and You talk about guys that have been carrying New Japan Pro Wrestling on their backs. You talk about Tanahashi's been carrying it for the last 15 years. And now Shingo, I feel like, has really been carrying this company in terms of work rate over the last 3 to 4 years. And it's undeniable. These guys are just amazing. Johnny Gargano versus Kushida was a match that I wasn't really looking forward to as much as I felt like I should have, and that was mainly because at that point in time I didn't watch NXT at all, so I just was really only looking forward to the match because it's happening on a takeover. And at this point in time, I felt like Johnny Gargano really kind of slipped away from what he originally was, and that was like the big match NXT wrestler. I mean, at one point in time, Johnny Gargano was like on fire. He was like one of the best wrestlers in the world in like 2017, 2018. You could even say 2016. Like, you could not touch Johnny Gargano in the ring. But then once 2020 came, I felt like he kind of really started to slow down a bit. And I really didn't see or hear about anything that Johnny Gargano was really doing really at all last year that was really like worth watching. And then you go up against Kushida, this guy who's been very well protected in NXT and, you know, one of the faithfuls in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But Johnny Gargano and Kushida just simply kicked so much ass. Like, it was, in my opinion, the best match on the show, but like, that's not even to say anything about TakeOver Vengeance or as a whole, because I'll talk about that a bit later. But Johnny Gargano Kushida, it deserves its flowers entirely. I feel like this is a match that people tend to forget about over time, but I'm going to make sure you don't forget about it because it's number 4 on this list. Here's another match I feel like people have been talking about less and less as the year is going on, and that's Jeff Cobb versus Shingo at Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2. These two went in here and like had, bar none, like the second best match of the entire like 2-night event. Like, you can roll down the entire Night 1 card and roll down majority of the Night 2 card, and none of those matches touch Shingo and Jeff Cobb. These are two men who went into the Never division a bit in the later half of the 2010s, you know, Shingo in 2018, Jeff Cobb in 2019, and they crossed paths, I think, one time in G1 Climax 29, but really didn't do much after that. Now, usually with New Japan Pro Wrestling, these guys tend to face off multiple times, and Jeff Cobb and Shingo Takagi, I believe at this point, may have had their second or third match, and they managed to somehow make this match stand out so much more than the first two matches and incorporate a lot more. Jeff Cobb throwing Shingo Takagi around the ring is just so impressive. We know how strong he is, but seeing him throw this big, meaty guy at like he's nothing is just like, wow. And then Shingo Takagi charging at Jeff Cobb with all he has, because Shingo is like a very, very great case where it's like, he's a brute, but like he can go much more faster than a lot of the other Never guys. And we saw that in this match with Jeff Cobb. It was a lot of impressive feats in this match. It's one of those things that you can watch back and I could still enjoy it no matter what. And for that matter, it's definitely deserving of the number 3 spot on this list. This is the match that for a lot of people put Stardom on the map. Stardom's been around for about 10 years now, but there's a lot of wrestling fans that know of Stardom but never checked it out. But if there was any match, ideally, I would show a new fan to Stardom. I would show them this match. Like, Julia versus Tam Nakano, bar none, has to be one of the best women's matches, like, probably in the last, like, 10 years. Like, it was just that fucking good. The feud was stretching on for about a year now, and Tam Nakano at one point may have pinned Julia, but Julia has had to edge over Tam Nakano for the longest time, building up to this hair versus hair for a title match that these two women had. And I feel like with the hair stipulation being on the line, there was much more of an incentive for these women not to lose, more so for them to win. But it was a simply beautifully laid out match. Tam Nakano finally getting her moment and winning the Wonder of Stardom Championship after challenging for it for so many years and always losing. It was such a heartfelt, warm-hearted moment. I feel like many of the matches on this, even like in the last like 3 months, can't touch how I felt coming out of this match. Like, it's very rare in pro wrestling where you have a feel-good moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can watch a great match and be like, damn, that was a great match. But it's hard to come out of a match and be like, wow, that made me proud to be a pro wrestling fan. I was proud to be a pro wrestling fan after watching Nakano versus Julia. And though I couldn't rank it number 1 on this list, it is most certainly the best women's match all year thus far. But that leads us to number 1. I know there's a lot of people who still disagree with me on this, but I will die on the hill that Kota Ibushi versus Jay White was a almost damn near perfect match. The only thing that really stops me being perfect is that it went 10 minutes longer than it should have been. I feel like it really didn't need to go 48 minutes. It could have just went 38 and it could have accomplished the same exact goal. But for two men who faced off, I believe 4 times at that point, they managed to have a match that didn't feel necessarily the same, but have enough callbacks, have enough story elements implemented over the last few matches in 2 years from stories, from tag matches, from interactions they've had in the past. It was just such a perfect blend, and I feel like it was executed very well. And one of the reasons why I love this match so much is mainly for Jay White, because Jay White was a fucking artist in this match. I could talk all day about the in-ring prowess and just how awesome of a defensive wrestler Jay White is, but like, watch the body language of Jay White during this match. He was, bar none, just one of the very best at conveying how he felt. It started off as Jay White being super confident that he had this in the bag, and as the match progressed, he started to slowly but slowly lose his mind, and I feel like the average wrestling fan would not have caught that. You would have to watch this match back maybe twice, maybe even 3 times to really capture just why I'm saying that Jay White was an artist in this match. I mean, I could still vaguely remember Jay White locking in the JTO onto Kota Ibushi, and at this point in time, Kota Ibushi's had his ankle like worked over for like 25, almost 30 straight minutes, and Jay White locks in a leg submission, which has tapped out men before. It's tapped out Tanahashi, and that's how he beat Tanahashi to win the match. I don't remember if it was exactly for the World Heavyweight Championship, but it definitely was. He beat Tanahashi with that move. I remember that much. He locks in this move, and Kota Ibushi is struggling to make the ropes. He's struggling to make the ropes, and Jay White's confident, and then Kota Ibushi's still in this move after a minute, and you could see on his face Jay White is slowly starting to get like more and less and less and less confident. And by the time Kota Ibushi starts crawling towards the rope, Jay White's almost begging Kota Ibushi to like just stop, like don't reach the rope, like I'm tired. Like it's just this tired and like worn out and damn near ready to cry emotional feel you get for Jay White, but like you don't feel bad for him, but you could definitely see the vulnerability of him, which he doesn't show very often. I feel like for that matter, there is no reason people cannot give the match its flowers, especially Jay White in this match. Kota Ibushi is my guy, but Jay White stole the performance of the night. And when I put up a poll, and when I put up a post to the community page asking about this, majority of you actually agree with me that Kota Ibushi versus Jay White was your match of the year. So, I mean, saying I was right. Hey guys, quick little interlude here. I wasn't able to finish this video in enough time before I leave out for my flight to go to Tampa for WrestleMania weekend, so we'll have to finish the rest of the video when I get back. But thank you all for tuning in for the top 5 wrestling matches of Q1 for 2021. Comment down below what you guys think, and I love you guys as always, and I will see you all later. Peace out, guys.